Hello, my name is Missionary Grace Cho. In your lifetime, you might have encountered loving one's last moment. The last words might be very precious words that probably condense a person's whole spirit, mind, and life. Likewise, the 7 final words of Jesus seem to reflect on his whole life, and they were the fulfillment of the Messianic prophecies. His death on the cross shows God's complete redemption. Today, we will think about the duration of Jesus hanging on the cross and his first 3 words. 3 words were given from the perspective of Jesus' divinity. First, how long was Jesus hanging on the cross? You probably know Jesus hung on the cross for 6 hours from the 3rd hour to the 9th hour. Jesus' 7 words for 6 hours redemption seems to relate to God's 6-day creation work and the 7th-day Sabbath. He was hanging on the cross at the 3rd hour to be crucified. Mark chapter 15 verse 25 says, "It was the 3rd hour when they crucified him." And from the 3rd to the 6th hour, which is 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. in modern time. During there was light, Jesus said 3 words. And then from the 6th to the 9th, there was darkness over all the land. He said 4 words. Matthew chapter 27 verse 45, "Now from the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour." In Luke chapter 23 verse 44, "It was now about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour." While there was darkness over the whole land, Jesus said the rest 4 words, beginning with the 4th word again. Matthew chapter 27 verse 46, "And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, 'Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?' That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Until the moment of death from birth, Jesus lived according to the scriptures. He put about 4,000 years of prophecies into practice by himself. Just as Israelites killed the Paschal lamb at twilight on the Passover, Jesus, who was the Lamb of God, was crucified at twilight. Exodus chapter 12 verse 6, "Now you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at twilight." Here twilight is Bein Ha'arbaim in Hebrew. The lamb had to be slain at twilight or between the 2 evenings. The word Bein Ha'arbaim is unclear, so many scholars dispute it. Some argue that as a dual form, Arbaim expresses 2 settings, sunset and a later setting before dark. Josephus and Mishnah claim that the lamb was slain between the decline of the sun and sunset. The Ha'arbaim is the same time for the lighting of the lamps in the tabernacle and the offering of the daily evening sacrifice. Exodus chapter 30 verse 8 says, "When Aaron sets up the lamps at twilight, he shall burn it, a regular incense offering, before the Lord throughout your generations." Chapter 29 verse 39 says, "One lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at twilight." Deuteronomy chapter 16 verse 6 says, in the middle part, "There you shall offer the Passover sacrifice in the evening at sunset." Thus, Jesus died between the 2 evenings, just like the Paschal lamb slain as the evening sacrifice and the true incense. Second, What are the first three words of Jesus on the cross? First word is Father, forgive their sins, for they do not know what they are doing. This word of Jesus was the prayer as the high priest. This word fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. Isaiah 53 verse 12, He bore the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors. At the height of suffering and pain on the cross, the first word that Jesus said was the Father. He always called God the Father. This intimate calling describes God's fervent love toward human beings. Even abandoning His intimate Son, God wanted to save sinners. But later, at the fourth word, Jesus calling Father dramatically changed to God. He called, my God, my God. Here is a profound meaning, so we will talk about it in next second video. Now, to the intimate Father, Jesus asks for forgiveness for those who mocked and ridiculed Him. It would be common for ordinary people to curse back to the one who is trying to kill. But Jesus was different. Whenever people rebuked Jesus, He prayed for forgiveness. To the very end, He was the full embodiment of love and demonstrated love in pleading for the sinner's forgiveness. At Jesus' word, something strange happened. In the beginning, both the two robbers beside Jesus reviled Him in the same way. Matthew chapter 27 verse 44, and the robbers who were crucified with Him also reviled Him in the same way. But as time went by, one of the two robbers had a striking change of heart and then rebuked the criminal who was insulting Jesus by saying, do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? He is now defending Jesus' innocence. Again, this man has done nothing wrong. After that, he asked Jesus, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus' constant prayer for forgiveness changed the sinner's heart, even on the cross. To the repentant sinner, Jesus is now saying the second word. And He said to him, truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. To the repentant sinner, Jesus permitted a promise of assurance. Interestingly, as Jesus was taunted, mocked, and persecuted by the crowd, He did not respond. But when this repentant robber humbly sought mercy, He intimately responded with compassion and assurance. This second word is the fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecy. Isaiah 53 verse 10 says, when his soul makes an offering for guilt, he shall see his offspring. The repentant sinner became the seed through his confession of faith. Some versions read offspring as the seed. The seed is a spiritual seed that is born again. On the cross, Jesus found out a true believer wholly trusting in Him. The repentant received the gift of today that could enter the paradise. Jesus fulfilled the word of Hebrews chapter 7 verse 25. He is also able to save the uttermost those who come to God through Him, since He always lives to make intercession for them. The third word is when Jesus saw His mother and His disciple, whom He loved, standing nearby, He said to His mother, woman, behold your son. Then He said to the disciple, behold your mother. Jesus called His mother woman, not as mother. In human thought, his calling may sound rude. Parents probably feel a sense of disrespect when their children call them woman or man. During Jesus' public ministry, Jesus called his mother woman twice. The first was when he was invited to the wedding feast at Cana at the beginning of his public ministry, and now at the end of his ministry on the cross. Why did Jesus call her like this? Jesus probably wanted to give gracious comfort and loving assurance to his mother and wanted to establish a new relationship between his beloved mother and his beloved disciple. But more than this, Jesus desired to reveal his identity, that he was the very one who has been prophesied as the seed of the woman from starting his public ministry, but even his mother did not recognize it. So now, in the final moment, he reminds her of this fact. Jesus proclaimed this and accomplished the prophecy of Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 on the cross. Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Even though Mary was Jesus' mother physically, she also had to believe in Jesus as the Messiah to be saved. At Jesus' calling woman at this moment, Mary was probably reminded of all the words that she had heard from Angel Gabriel and Simeon and Anna, that her son to be a sign of the fall and rise of many in Israel as Messiah. Now Jesus is evangelizing his mother and shows discipleship on the cross. Let's summarize. For the 6 hours, Jesus uttered 7 last words in extreme suffering. The first 3 words were spoken from the perspective of Jesus' divinity. He forgave sinners and permitted heaven as the owner of it to the repentant sinner. And he revealed his true identity as Messiah in saving even his mother. By reminding her that he was the seed of the woman, Jesus proclaimed the Messianic prophecy of the Redeemer and fulfilled the redemptive work. Jesus' precious 3 words out of the 7 in his final moments on earth guide our spiritual journeys into forgiveness, reconciliation, comfort, and hope. Thank you so much for watching, and have a gracious Passion Week.